All right. Right. All right, so I will start sharing my screen again. Just let me know if you can see it this time around. You can just let me know in the comments. I would see the chat here. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. All right. So let me go back to previous slide. So yeah, for those that didn't get the screen before, so these are some of the feedback we got in the form that everyone filled. So you can just look at it. If you want to take a screenshot, you're free to take a screenshot. Then I'll move to the next slide. So for the next slide, we have advice to women. So aside saying, okay, what are the challenges you've had? We also asked like, okay, please like drop certain advice you're going to give like a woman in software testing, a woman in tech, whichever way. And these are some of the feedback that we got from you guys. So one of the advices, be the best at whatever you choose to do. Gain enough capacity. As a woman, you can be whoever you want to be without fear or limiting yourself to the general "I'm a woman" thing. Be bold, be audacious, and embody confidence. Keep pushing and believe in yourself. Be open to learning and connect more with people. Remember, no one can replicate your unique essence. Continually strive for self-improvement while acknowledging that your gender isn't a limitation, but a source of empowerment. Let your authenticity and strength guide you as you navigate your path. Stay consistent in learning and don't be afraid to make contribution. Be focused, committed, ready to explore. Have some mentors, allies, or sounding boards who can help you give the courage and confidence to find your voice. Communicate your aspiration upfront to your boss and get some accountability partner in your peers who can support you and push you to make your voice heard. Start small and practice with your comfortable group so that you can be impactful and confident in a bigger group too. Remember that your unique perspective and contribution are valuable assets in the world of software testing. Own your weakness and improve on it. Be consistent and keep showing up. Educate yourself. Be sure about what you want and don't settle for less. Stay committed to your growth. Keep pushing forward and surround yourself with supportive people. Believe in yourself. Continue being confident. Discover your voice, know yourself, stay informed and build confidence, speak up, find support, embrace vulnerability, practice active listening, persistent, and use your platform authentically. Believe in ourselves, equip ourselves well enough to so our work quality will speak for her and she won't be shut down again. Thank you very much. I think we deserve a round of applause for ourselves for all of this. Thank you to, excuse me, to everyone who shared these. I hope that women on this call get to pick, a thing or two from this. So I also wanted to put this out there because I know that a lot of people, when they see like events like this, the next thing that comes to their head is that, okay, maybe another one of those women conversation, all those women. I mean, I think that certain people feel like these conversations have been overflogged. So when they hear things like women conversation, the first thing that they do is just roll their eyes like, okay, you're there again, right? So I just want to like put it out there that this is not really that conversation that you're thinking you're going into. And, stay connected, stay tuned, and I'm very sure that you pick a thing or two from these conversations we are having. So yeah, moving on, I think it's time for us to, get into the topic ASAP so that we can give our speakers time to like do other things that they have planned for the day. And, you guys can also still like Elizabeth that is planning to go out and yeah, she'll be able to do so. So the conversation we'll be having today is a cross-generational dialogue on software testing growth. And, one of the people that will be speaking with us today is Unyime. And I feel like Unyime is like, oh, Abiola started again. I'm only saying, I found out last year that Unyime was my birthday mate, and I haven't stopped talking about it because it's very hard for me to find someone that is like born on the same day with me. I either find like a day before or a day after. So you find someone that, oh, who's that? Let me mute now. Okay. Okay. So when you find someone that, is born on that same day, I was very, very excited to know. So yeah, that's my personal bias for Unyime. So she's the co-founder and managing partner at Assuredly, a software quality assurance company with a team. Unyime brings about 25 years of combined experience. What's going on? I have to mute this. Please, when you join, kindly just mute. Thank you. So we don't disrupt the meeting. When you join, kindly just mute your mic. Thank you very much. Elizabeth, you might have to help me here in case you see anybody that is not muting, just mute them. Okay, let me try it. I think I might have to give Elizabeth admin. Okay, great. All right. So that is, I was reading Unyime's bio. Apologies for the disruption. With our team, Unyime brings over 25 years of combined experience across diverse sectors, including banking, logistics, education, recruitment, entertainment, and insurance financial services. A passion for innovation, unwavering commitment to excellence, and vast expertise drives success and transformation within organizations, ensuring top-notch product and optimal ROI, as return of investment. Unyime's mission is empowering businesses and executive team with valuable insight and practical solution in building their digital product. And she's an ex-InterSwitch, CoralPay, Bundle, and NextCoin. Let's give a round of applause to Unyime. You can send a virtual upload. Yeah, you can send a virtual upload, and you can also put it in the chat box and just welcome her. Like I said, I have personal bias. If you don't come out very well, I'll fight. All right. So moving on. The next person is also someone really cool. Her name is Omolara Alade Dauda, and she's the head of QA for Flutterwave. Omolara heads the quality assurance engineering team at Flutterwave. She is a certified quality assurance manager with over 6 years of hands-on experience ensuring the highest software quality and reliability standards in Flutterwave. She has played a pivotal role in driving successful QA initiatives for products like SendHub, Flutterwave Store, amongst many others, and contributing to the success of our team and organization. As a dedicated professional in the field of quality assurance, Omolara remains committed to staying abreast of the latest industry trends, emerging technologies, and best practices. She's passionate about sharing her knowledge and insight with others in the QA community, as she's doing this morning. So let's welcome Omolara and give her a round of applause also. Thank you for joining us, Omolara. I think I should actually, okay, maybe when I'm done, just allow, the speakers say a thing or two before we really start. I mean, let's hear from them. So the third person is also my personal person. Her name is Wendy Etafo, and Wendy is a quality assurance engineer at Alert by Wema. Wendy is a dedicated and experienced software quality assurance engineer with 4 years of proven expertise. Currently working at Alert by Wema, she has developed a deep understanding of software testing methodologies and practices, ensuring the delivery of high-quality products. With a passion for technology and keen eye for detail, Wendy consistently strives for excellence in all aspects of quality assurance, eager to share insights and best practices. She's excited to contribute and engage with fellow professionals in the field, as she's also doing this morning. So let's give Wendy a round of applause, or a round applaud, like they always correct me to say. All right. So the third person is also someone I also like. Her name is Sheum, and you're wondering, Abiola, do you like all of them? Yes, I like everybody. So Sheum Onolaye, she's the QA lead of 9PSBNG. Sheum is a highly experienced professional in the field of quality assurance. With a background in computer engineering, a career trajectory led her to a leadership role in the financial sector. Where she contributes to play a pivotal part in advancing quality assurance practices within the financial technology. Currently, she serves as the QA lead at Nine Payment Service Bank, driving excellence in software quality. In addition to this, in addition to our remarkable professional achievements, Sheung is committed to continuous learning, currently pursuing a master's in computer science at the University of East London. She's further solidifying our expertise in the ever-evolving landscape of technology. Let's give Sheung also a round of applause. Thank you very much, Sheung, for being here with us this morning. All right, and the final person happens to be me, but my picture is not here because I think that you guys already know me. My name is Abiola. Thank you everyone for coming here today. And I'm very excited to, host you guys for us to have this conversation also. I think I need to check okay, yeah, thank you for clapping. Thank you very much. All right, so I think it's time for us to get into things and, get the conversation rolling. I have a few questions here that I will be asking, the team. But before I do that, I think that it's going to be really nice for us to hear from them. So I think I will not start accordingly. So I'll start from Wendy. Wendy, how are you doing? How are you doing today? Is there anything you'd like to share with us? Like, how are you doing generally? Just, we're just doing checkup before we start.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Abiola, for having me, and thank you everyone for having me here. I look forward to having an engaging and insightful conversation with everyone here. And yeah, nothing much to share. I'm just very interested in seeing how this goes. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Wendy. Omolara, are you there?
Good morning, everyone.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for including me on this platform. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Yeah, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for accepting our request. Unyime, over to you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Okay, it's nice to be here and nice to see everyone somehow, somewhere in the call. So looking forward to an interesting conversation.
All right, thank you very much. Shane, are you with me? Is Shane here? Oh yeah, she is. Shane, please, can you kindly unmute if you can hear me? Hi, Shane. Oh, I think for some reason she can't unmute. So hopefully as we go in the conversation, she'll be able to. If you're having any challenge, please just drop it on the chat. Elizabeth will be able to take it from there. Thank you. All right, so let's go into today's conversation. The topic for today is actually, inspiring inclusion across generational dialogue on software testing growth. And, the initial plan was to, have really, the senior guys. I was actually talking to a couple of testers who have had over more than 20 years of experience, women in software testing. But as they say, something happened along the way. They were supposed to be here, but some of them reached out, just during the week to say, some things happened and they won't be here today. But they definitely mentioned that I should send my regards to everyone and apologize. That's Ade Helen and Mrs. Toyin. Okay, so we'll just go into it. And, even though we don't have that length that we would have, I'm still very happy that we had we have a very balanced levels here, because Onyime has about 9 years of experience, if I'm correct. And, Sheung has almost 10 years of experience. Wendy has 4 and maybe over 4 actually. And Omolara has over 6. So that kind of balance thing. So we have people around the 10-year and people, within the 4 to 6-year range. So we still have quite a balanced opinion here. even though we don't have like the extremes over 20s currently. So I would just go into like the first conversation, and I want like everyone to like chip in just their beats in this particular part. So I wanted to ask if what has really motivated you to, I'm always really eager to even know, why did you even choose software testing? Did you stumble on the field? Did you really plan out to, join the field? Or I think I will start with Omolara. Omolara, like, how did you like find yourself in software testing? Was it really planned out? Did you like the field, or did you grow into it, or did you just stumble on it?
Sorry, excuse me. Hi. Yeah, so I would say I stumbled on it. All right. I didn't plan to be a tester. I didn't even know what that was at some point, right? But I had a friend reach out to me. We're just talking, right? What are you doing? I was just complaining about my current job. I think I was a sales rep / admin then. And I was like, oh, I wanted to do more that, I just felt, redundant where I was. So I was like, oh, have you heard of product testing? So I said, no, I haven't. So we just started talking about it. I started researching about it, and there was an open role at the company that he worked then. So yeah, that's how I went. So I started. I joined as an intern. I started learning. Yeah, I just fell in love with the role as soon as I immersed myself in, the responsibilities of the role.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Wendy, was that different for you, or did you also, just find yourself there?
Okay, so for me, I kind of like found myself there. I started with I knew that I always wanted to be in tech, so I've always just worked in the tech industry. So when I stumbled on QA, like I was given, it's like they just give it to me because I was doing like different roles at that point. So QA was one of the roles that I was doing, and then I developed interest in just wanting to use applications that were, user friendly and had good user experience, basically. So when I delved really into software testing and I understood what software testing was about, and I put two and two together, and it just made sense. So yeah, so it was actually just given to me, and then I needed to pick out the one that I know that I wanted to further my career in, because I just always wanted a technical role. I didn't want something that was non-technical. I wanted something technical. So I delved into it, and then yeah, it's been nice so far. Yeah, so that's how I got into it.
Thank you very much for sharing, Wendy. And I think that even your story is almost similar to mine, because I know that I've been like all over the place, trying my hands on a couple of things. I think I've shared this several times. And for QA, it was more like you join a company and they're like, oh, come and start as a QA person. And I was even just looking like, when you look at me, is there something that made you think that I would fit this role? Because it just was like, what would you think of? Mine was not even like, oh, maybe I was involved in several things. It was just QA specifically. And yeah, so yeah. And that's actually how I just, tried my best and, it became something. So Unyime, Onyime's own is like quite, I'm going to like take Onyime's question in a different route. So it's one thing for you to like, maybe even stumble on a field and try to build like a thriving career in it. But it's a different thing for you to stumble on a field, build a thriving career, and decide to start a company from it. That's a gangster thingy. So Unyime, I just want you to like share with us. I mean, how was that growth for you? I need to mute this person. Just give me a minute so that we can hear you clearly. I need to mute this person. I keep muting. It keeps unmuting. I'm not sure why. All right. Unyime, please, over to you.
Okay. So the question is, how did I move from doing it to a business, right?
Yes, exactly. I mean, you can also give us background gist of how you even got there. So it might just be like, oh, this is how I even got there to start with. Then after like a couple of years, I decided to like, pivot into like building a business from it. So yeah, you can just walk us through the journey. We are interested in learning.
Okay, so how did I get into it? I think, to be very honest, it was what was available at the time. I think I started out at InterSwitch. That was like the first place I worked. And it was, I think I went for an interview that day, and it was supposed to be a software testing and developers interview. And I knew I could not write code. So I was like, no, I didn't apply for developer role. So it was QA. And then that's how I moved into the QA interview process and then got the job. So that's basically how I got there, or rather how I got into QA. And generally, I just knew that I needed to do something. I knew I was going to do something in tech or something that had to do with computers. And also, I think that was already there, but coding was not one of it. So getting into software testing and saying, okay, I necessarily do not need to know how to, do the whole GitHub, not necessarily do GitHub, but I don't necessarily need to know how to write the whole code and all that, but I can be part of that process that brings those code to life, right? That was intriguing and that was interesting. And that's how I got into the space. And how did it become a business? It became a business from a side gig. Yes, it became a business from side gig. So you saw the opportunity whereby, okay, knowing that, I think even till today, we are still struggling with the relevance of the role. So you will notice that most companies are still not saying it as a role to have, but people were still open to, okay, even if I don't have to employ them like full time, I can, use them for the time I need them for, even if it's supposed to be a continuous thing, but yeah, that's just the way it is at the moment. So it was more or less from, doing this for one or two people who were building, I think that was 2018, 2019, when people were, the whole startup wave was starting up and people were building products. And then I think from there, it became like, okay, you could position this thing to, a structure or a standard that you can offer this as a service now to people. So that's how I went from work to business.
Amazing. And I have another follow-up question though. I mean, for that time you were in that space, I'm very sure that I'm just thinking, I don't think that there were really many women like were very vocal about quality assurance and what they were doing at the time. So how did you even find, the level of strength and, ginger, let me use the word, to be like, okay, yeah, I got this, I can do this. And, sometimes when you have like, when you have like a picture, for instance, I'm going to use myself as an example. Sometimes I look at it, I'm like, oh, Unyime did XYZ. I should be able to like, run through and do XYZ also. Like I look at people that have gone, ahead of me and, I watch what you guys have done and I'm able to like, try to model things. It's more like I'm standing on your shoulders, basically. So for you, I don't know if you had like a woman in that space. I know there might be men, and I don't want to go into that gist. Or sometimes it doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily the same thing. But how was it for you?
So interestingly, they were actually women, right? So I would still like, I think till today, like those two people are still like let's say the reason why I would say, okay, I got into this space, I found the balance in this space and I was able to grow in this space. So in InterSwitch then, like I said, when I said, oh, I was not doing development. So the two people that, like my interviewers at the time, were the leads of the department then, were Princess and Chigi, right? So they were the ones who interviewed me, interviewed me and then pretty much support me throughout the role. And it was also interesting that when we got in as well, I think for that particular hiring, well, I don't think it was biased, but for that particular hiring, most of us that got on board in that, for that particular, let's say, phase were mostly women. And then our leads were also women. So it was, and they were very encouraging and supportive in helping us navigate the role because we're all entry level. So basically, they trained us to, the levels that we got to and we're able to transfer these skills now to other people. So women helped.
So sorry about that. I muted the person already.
Okay, did you hear what I said?
Yes, I actually did. I
Okay.
actually did. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm actually eager to know that, funny enough, even for myself, the first company I worked with as a professional tester, it was actually a very large team. We are about almost 20 testers in the team. And my manager was a woman, and she was actually one of the people that was supposed to speak here today. Yeah. So my manager was also a woman. So I'm actually very happy that you had people to give you the right motivation while you were growing. And I would ask one final question, before I move to Sheon, if you permit me, Unyime. Would you say that, interview, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, would you say interview process at the time, like years back, far back as 2015, is it, do you think it's the same thing right now?
No,
What do you think really changed?
I think we made it complex. Right. I think we made it also. I mentioned, the first thing I said was that okay, there was developers and QA interviews were set on the same day. And when they came to try to when they came in to, arrange or rather beginning the process, right? They were now asking, okay, what are you supposed to do? So imagine if I went into that QA interview and I was required to code, I would have failed. And you notice that I've seen so many QA interviews today where it's as good as you telling me I'm a developer, which is not necessarily the key core of that role, right? You're supposed to understand the code, yes, but I don't think that's, testing me for if I can code is it, or rather, am I able to think? Am I able to extrapolate information? Am I able to, the whole 9 yards? Am I able to, spin off things from there, investigate? Those are the things I would think that, we should be assessed for a QA, not me writing code.
Thank you. Actually, you're coming back to that question. I'm actually going to get more babies under that question. So I'll just pause it for the time being. But thank you for your answer, email. So I'll go to Sheon. Sheon, can you tell me if you can unmute now? If you can you just say hello?
Yes, good morning.
Hi,
Sorry, I
thank
had
you.
issue with my network.
Don't worry, we're very much aware of the current situation of things. So it's fine. All right, so thank you, Sheon. So Sheon, I would actually like to ask, you may mention some things around, women in, her first job that really made life easy for her, encouraged her. She had a couple of other women that she also worked with as a tester and all. What do you think is the role of mentorship? Even maybe while you were growing, maybe your own career, how mentorship helped you and how mentorship can, encourage people right now. It doesn't even have to be very subjective to a particular gender, but generally speaking, how can mentorship really launch your career forward and faster?
Okay. So in terms of mentorship, but personally, I don't really, when I was starting out in software testing, I don't really have somebody to look up to because it was not a popular field when I started. I started in 2014. So it was not, when I was even put to the department, I was like, what is software testing? It was so new to me. So when I was starting, I don't really have, but I have people that have grown in the IT space that really, really help me. Even though the software testing, I don't really have a roadmap or anything at that time. So I think mentorship has personally helped me in the IT as a role in terms of being in the fact, the way IT is, new things are coming. Sometimes you feel left out in the industry as if we are not meeting up. So the mentorship has made me to realize that I'm not alone in the game. Every role, every field are feeling the same thing. So it's made me to feel calm in the journey, like, okay, yes, okay, I'm not the only one that is actually facing that I'm left out, that this is what I need to do. I need to take more course. I need to do this. And this mentor and these mentors in my life has introduced me to some platform that even when I was starting my career, that I don't have money to buy courses, they were able to introduce me to some platform that can audit scores and everything. If I don't have them in my life, I won't have been exposed to some of these platforms that I was able to get this knowledge. And being even like the calmness and the peace that they give me when I'm talking to them is when you feel that you are not left alone, you are not alone, that everybody is feeling. You just need to step up your games. You just need to learn more, expose yourself more, gain more experience, and don't limit yourself in what is being operated in your current company as a whole. So I can say mentor, being in that kind of, having that kind of people in my life has really, really helped me in my journey.
All right, thank you very much, Sheung. Sheung, you said something very important, which is one of the reasons we wanted to have like one of these, why we wanted like the cross-generational conversation. And, you said something about, feeling left behind. And, when I was talking to some of these testers I mentioned earlier that had like the women that had over 20 years experience, that was one major thing they kept on saying, that they felt like there was a gap between, the newer generation of testers and, the older generation. They feel like, oh, maybe we are all, all in the space of, we are doing a lot of things. There's new tool here, there's one tool there, there's one thing there going on, there's one conference here. And, they are just wondering, like, what's going on? There's no synergy. How do you think that we can really bridge that gap between the two generations of testers?
Okay. I think one of the things that they mentioned, the reason why they mentioned that the new generation tester are actually different from the old generation is because nowadays we have so many resources that you can fall back. Even though you don't have somebody close to you that in that role, you can go online, you have so many materials and everything like that. I think that's one of what the old generation doesn't have then. And the only reason we can bridge that gap is just continuous learning. You just have to like source for all these materials. Learn, like me now. I used to advise people, don't learn only once you get your first job and you've had 1 year's experience. Don't learn only software testing alone. Have a basic knowledge of other roles that you are working with, that the PM role, developer role, the DevOps, any role that you are collaborating with to deliver a project. Try to learn the basic of their work. It goes a long way. It helps you to bridge that gap, because if you look at the software development life cycle or anything, what they are trying to do is where everything, without you being managed, you can manage yourself, and everything you can deliver within a short time. Unlike before that, you have a waterfall that you may not collaborate with other things. So when you try to learn beyond, as you're growing your career, when you try to learn a basic of other roles, of other people that you people are collaborating together to deliver a project, you try to communicate better, you try to like work better with people, and you try to like feel that, okay, yes, you're actually growing, you're actually making sense, you're actually being in the space. So I think that the summary is just a continuous learning, even as going outside your role sometimes to learn the basic of other roles that you are working together can actually fill that gap.
All right, thank you very much for sharing, Sheung. And I like something that you said. You mentioned continuous learning, just always staying relevant. And Unyime, I would just like to bring this back to you, because I mean, you also have almost 10 years of experience, and I would like to believe that so the way I and Wendy, for instance, would see certain things might be different from the way you would also see those things based on like the gap in our length of experience. So from the question I asked Sheung, is there also something else you might want to chip in here?
Okay, I think I would in terms of like how to grow, I would say that, well, the difference in generation, yes. But like Shemun has said, writing on what she said on, you're not just learning on your role, because I think I've spoken to some other people I've spoken to, have said that with QA, your trajectory is actually very wide, because as a QA, you can actually assume any role, because you are working with every single role that is involved in the entire development cycle. So it means that you have the opportunity to be any of those people should you want to, to switch roles. So it means that to be able to do that, you have to be able to communicate as a developer. You may not necessarily need to know like to the execution level of the role, but you should know so well that you are rounded and you are the go-to person, because for me, QA should know the product even more than the developers and the product managers on the product, right? Because you are the custodian of the quality of that product. So that means that to be able to be that custodian, it means that you have to know even more than the people that are working on it, because that's the only way you can strive on your own.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Thank you. And going back to the first thing I said also, how do you now think that we can now bring a synergy and close the gap between, both generation?
And so to me, I would say it's for the current generation, I would say, well, so, the sad part is that most of the people that would have, helped you to get there have left. So you may find yourself, with 1 year experience, you are actually the only QA in your team or in the company. So there's even nobody to leverage on, also work with. And as I was mentioned, these are available online, but one of the ways you can do that is to, try to see how you can find people outside your workplace. So don't limit yourself to your workplace, because your workplace may not necessarily have all that you need to be able to get to where you want to be. So you would have to leverage more now on external assistance. You need to know more people in your field, not just the people within your close friends and all. You need to know more people in your field. You need to participate in events like this where you get to, meet people and, build that network for yourself, because at the end of the day, you need to grow, and to be able to grow, you need to have as much information as possible. And that information cannot just be within your, your space. You have to look for ways to get that information. So the internet is there, yes, which is good, right? And people as well. So there are so many people everywhere. Yeah, some people may be approachable, some people may not be approachable, but you should try to say, okay, how do I find that manager that I do not have right now? So that mentor that I do not have right now, where can I source that person from? Who will possibly be that person to me? Because you need that to be able to close that gap, right? Because the information of you guys have much more information at the moment than we did down as when we started. But what was there for us when we started was that community and was the people, right? So I had developers who would join me in testing, not the one that would say, oh, it's for QA. No, I had developers who would join you and test. I had managers who would join you and test, right? Because everybody was towards the same singular goal of delivering quality. But now you know that, okay, it's in the QA queue, and you have to be the one to be that person. And to be able to do that, you have to build collaboration even within your own team as well. Be interested in what the developers are doing, not just because you're testing their work, but because you want to know well enough to be able to interact with them. Because when you build that relationship, it's easier for them to now help you out, when you encounter problems, because like we don't necessarily would have that in-depth knowledge of writing code, but you know that when you are stuck in one JavaScript or Python, whatever, it's a developer that you kind of go and drag to come and help you. And to be able to do that, you actually need to build those relationships. So you're not building relationship just in QA, you're building relationship in all the fields that you would be interacting with, so that you can build yourself up to that level that you need to be.
Thank you so much. I really love your response. Thank you very much. And I like something that you said when you mentioned that you guys had this sense of collective responsibility when it comes to quality assurance. Unlike now that it's like, oh, QA, something. And I think I also enjoyed that. I remember that, even when you after QA says, oh, something works, my manager will still go through the application, to check if it really works. And my CTO will also check the application, because you have to sign off on the product. So it will make sure that he has also checked the application before he say, oh, even though QA says it works, let me also see it from my own perspective. And everybody just chip in a thing or two and make the product very good at the end of the day. And that's something that we need to start encouraging to bring back. And I will just go on quickly to Omolara. And for Omolara, I have like a specific question for you, which is, aside being a tester, you are also a manager. And, I would want to like ask, maybe it might be like gender related. If you have one, fantastic. If you don't have one, it's fine if it is general. But any challenge, major challenge, like, that you faced in your career as a tester that maybe even made you rethink your decision about being a tester. Was there anything like that, Omolara?
Yes, many times. I think for me, most of the time I had to ask myself if I should really be in this role is, for example, if you are not opportune to have everyone on your team collaborate with you, right? So it's always hard when, you're working with a set of people and it takes a whole, like it becomes harder, right, to complete your work because everybody just, leaves you to it. So like you said in your own company, you have different people coming to test, right? I've had different situations on different teams where you are literally begging to even reach out to them, right? And then when something breaks, you're the first person that they call. So I think that has been the most challenging part, having to work with some difficult people on the team. Is a struggle for them to work with you, and then you're always the first person they call whenever something goes wrong. So yeah, those I think those moments are the times where I question, should I really be here? Because my people skills is not so great. So if I'm here, I'm talking to you, I'm trying to find a middle ground, but then you're making it difficult for me. I'm just there looking, okay, should I really be having this conversation? But then I remember, okay, we're trying to achieve a goal here. So I take a step back, try to evaluate and see how else can I communicate with this person to, get the work done.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to like call you back on the particular thing you said. Now, I'm going to use in this part, where my very first, year as a tester, I remember very, very clearly, especially towards December of 2018. It was like, sugar for me, because we would test certain application. We had like third-party people we were servicing at the time, and we test the application. And when they meet their revenue target for that particular product, they will come back to the QA team and share money. It has nothing, it had nothing to do with your salary. They just come back to share money. And I felt like QA was like that until I moved to proper fintech, and I found out that it's not really like that. And I found out that, when things actually go right, the tester is not necessarily the first person that you get, that you hear that receives the accolades. Sometimes you're even forgotten. More usually it's like, oh, the developers and the product manager. And they go, oh, well done, the product is live, the product is doing great, we and revenue targets. But you have to now remind them that, hello, I'm here. So how do you balance that, after doing all of the hard work? You're not just doing it for yourself alone, but now you have like team that also report to you. So you're not just feeling it, but you have other people behind you that you also need to encourage. So how do you now balance, encouraging your team and still making sure that your voice is heard as a team?
Thank you very much for that question. So that's a really good question, because that was at some point that was like my everyday life. I wish I'd experienced, that profit sharing at some point, but that never happened to me. And it really bothered me. I think as you've mentioned, that was the situation, right, in the early stages for me, where you have the sleepless nights, you work on everything, and then when everything goes right, you see them, praising the PM, the devs, and you're just there and you're asking yourself, what's the point? Why am I even bothering myself, right? And having to grow a team, at first, I was just because we work in the background, right? It was very easy. So we'll do the work we'll give ourselves, ginger for us to, get the work done. And then when my team members started complaining, it was like I was reliving those moments when it was just me. So what I started doing was to, work on our visibility. So as much as you're working within your team, right, you're also trying to make a mark when you're communicating with other stakeholders, right? So I prioritize visibility for my team. So what we do is whenever we have meetings and make sure that, we're the ones doing the demos, we're the ones speaking up. If there are questions that are being asked on maybe random channels about a task, right, that we're in, we speak on what we know, and then we then call out maybe like the project manager or the scrum master, whoever has way more information that we do. So the main thing was, okay, how else can we be visible? And over time, I will not say we're there yet, but it has greatly improved, right? Because right now we don't use, like, whenever they comment the team, people are very careful. So they just comment the whole team. They don't pick people out, right? In some cases they do, right? Where they pick out the sales team that brought in the merchant, things like that. But right now is a whole lot better, right? And that has been because we tried as much as possible to be visible and to be heard and to also communicate our value as much as possible.
Thank you so much. I really like the fact that you mentioned like making sure that you're very visible, because it's sometimes these people don't even know what you do, to be fair. And if you don't really communicate that you have like value, they might not really be able to give you the accolades that you deserve. And something you also mentioned, I remember that I was working for a particular, it was just like a short period of time. I was like more like consulting for that particular company. And I had like some people with me, like they had like a test team, and I was supposed to lead the team for a specific number of time. And I remember that every time something great happens, they will come on Teams and say, oh, and they usually give like points. It's not like, oh, at the end of the year, the team with the person with the highest point actually gets an award. So it's very serious and, very personal to members of the team. So imagine that, several products goes live, you give points and accolades and rewards to the product managers, the developers, and the QAs are just behind the ball, like they didn't contribute anything to that. And I remember that the first week I joined and I saw that I didn't even allow the matter to hit the floor. I like fast. Immediately, I just, texted I just sent a text to our CTO and said, hello, kindly go back and go and give the QA the accolades, or else you will test your product yourself. And I said in a very like joking, sweet manner, but it got the gist and it did the right thing immediately. And from that moment onward, they started like including the testers for every accolades they shared. And that really did a lot to boost the morale of the testers that are involved. It doesn't even have to be like the test lead, like even the testers that are involved in that product, they actually get their accolades. And I think that, for managers, sometimes you have to speak up for your team and, make sure that they are heard, because eventually they feel like they might not be able to speak up because they feel like they have a manager which will speak up for them. And when you speak up for them, it really like boosts their morale. They feel motivated and, they want to give their best to work because they know that they will get the reward that they deserve. So thank you very much for sharing that, Malara. So I'll go to Wendy. So Wendy, I have a question. When I saw a question. I think let me go back to the previous slide. These gender-related issues that we saw here. Someone mentioned something, and I'm sorry if I'm throwing you under the bus, but forgive me. Wendy is my friend, so I'm sure that she's not going to beat me after now. So there was something I saw somewhere. Yes. So when I saw this question, I was like, I think Wendy has spoken about something like this before. So someone says that, oh, someone wants, when I saw this, I was just laughing. Are you coming to the office or going for a party? Why are you all glammed up? So as I'm just going to go straight, like, I mean, as a woman, as a female in the software testing space, how do you like take such question? Like, how do you take such attack on your personality?
Okay, so I've actually like been asked that question before by a manager that I'm not even reporting to, but then I think I was just at work and I was working because I'm a kind of person that I put in efforts to my looks. Like I'm not just because I'm coming to the office doesn't mean I'm just going to look unkempt, so I'm not going to take care of myself. I always take care of myself. So, and it doesn't affect my work, right? I'm giving value. Like nobody has come back to report to me that, oh, okay, Wendy, what you tested is not working, or even if it's not working, sometimes it's not even a problem from the QA, it's maybe a problem from the PO. Sorry to throw POs under the bus, but like sometimes maybe like a problem from the POs or something. But like nobody has ever come to complain that, okay, when you're not doing your work, nobody has ever come to complain that I'm dragging the team behind. But then maybe I just thought maybe he didn't just have what to say at that point. And the first thing he just said was that you're just putting on makeup. And I'm like, I don't understand. I had to literally speak to him and I'm like at that point, I'm like, how does my makeup affect my work? Like, how does it affect my work? And then he kept quiet and he left. So I just feel like in that kind of aspect, I feel like we should be audacious. I feel like we should, speak up. We should not hesitate to just, speak our minds and, challenge all these stereotypes because it doesn't sit well with accusing or just speaking to women just because they look good and then you not try to demean like the kind of work that they do. I just feel like maybe if we can just, be more assertive because that's something that I've carried into the tech space as a woman is like I make sure that I'm always assertive. I assert my ideas and my opinions and I'm confident because I know what I'm bringing to the office and I make sure that every time I'm always working, I'm doing my work well. I mean, developers can even like testify, like I'm always like, on my game. So if you're trying to now bring down my confidence, I feel like maybe it's trying to bring down my confidence. If I try to bring down my confidence because I'm putting in effort, like that's you problem. It's not my problem. So I just feel like as women, first of all, we shouldn't even take it too personal. We should just say that okay, it's not our problem. That's their problem. And secondly, we should be assertive. We should not hesitate to speak up and challenge all these stereotypes. Just say what you have to say and tell them. And I feel like maybe when we start shutting that conversation down, maybe they would like think very well before they just speak. And yeah, so that's that to say.
Yeah, thank you, Wendy. And funny enough, I also relate to one of the questions, one of the, message that one of the women sent. And mine that I could relate to was, people feeling like, I don't know how best to communicate it, but it was more like, pretty Ed, nothing there. Like, so it's very funny because the moment I don't know how to articulate it. It's just it's so funny. Like, you join a team newly, and especially when that's why I like remote job for like these days. Like, you don't get to see my face. So you join a team and they are meeting you for the first time, and they are just like, okay, she's a fine girl. Okay, that's the end. Most of these people, they are just like women in tech, quote and unquote. They don't really know anything until you start speak. And I don't want to get to that point that I always have to now start speaking before you know that okay, this woman is sound. I don't want to get to that point. I just want you to like give me the level of respect you give every other person, irrespective of how they look. So I could really relate to that, and I hope like we get to that point where we respect everyone. So I have another question for you, by the way. So I mean, when we talk about quality assurance, when we talk about software testing and a lot of these other things, I would like to ask that, I mean, based on the current, I feel like you and I just have like few months over 5 years. So I feel like you and I, we can still be categorized in the same, box. And I feel like how do I explain this? Like when it comes to like learning QA, when it comes to balancing what I am learning and what I am doing. Let me put it in a better way. You're trying to learn a lot of things because, for our own space, we have like so many tools coming up every day. Right? And, it's not just about the tools. There are also like updates on these tools. I was teaching someone how to use Catalan. When I first learned how to use Catalan was a very long time ago. By the time the person said, oh, Catalan, I said, it's Catalan now. Go and open it, do X, Y, Z. By the time I went to Catalan, I figured that the whole interface had changed entirely because, I was already using Selenium for a longer period. So I've forgotten about Catalan. I figured that the whole interface had changed entirely. So I had to go back, start learning everything from scratch. I had an idea of things, but, I just needed to know, okay, where's this one now? What's that? And had to like even watch YouTube videos to help me. So it means that you can't really stay at one point and say, oh, you know these things, you know everything. So how do you now balance, doing a great job at your company that you are, and also still ensuring that you're still, abreast of everything that is going on in the space?
Okay. So for me, I think I would say continuous learning, of course. There's always going to be continuous learning because for me, that's something I feel like I'm still doing at this point. Like there are tools that I've learned and there are tools that are still coming up, and then they can just bring it into your, team and like, oh, you have to use this particular tool. So the text landscape like is always like evolving, and then the whole new technologies that are coming up. So what I would just say is continuous learning and having hands-on experience. So for me, I don't think I can just, see something and not practice it. So I just like hands-on experience is one way that I try to make sure that, okay, I'm adapting to this particular thing. So always trying to like practice things is one way that I try to, understand new technologies. And also I try my best not to be scared because I'm the kind of person that I don't like stressing people. I'm really like a one-man person. Like I like to just figure things out myself because I don't like when I'm asking someone questions and it seems like they try to make me seem like I don't know it. Like I don't like hearing no, I don't have time to explain to you. So I just try my best just to understand it myself. But at the same time, I feel like we should also try to, speak up and try to like meet people, ask questions. Because I don't think it's a bad thing for us to, speak to people and just ask questions. So that's something I also started doing. And I'm also very grateful that, my colleagues are people that are very welcoming and they make it easy for me to just, reach out to them, collaborate with them, communicate with them, even as far as, seems like, maybe we're starting like a new sprint or something like that. I feel like, it's important to just collaborate with everybody and try to understand where they're coming from or what the requirements are. So for me, communicating with my colleagues or people that I know that are way ahead of me is another way that I try to understand certain things. So speaking up and asking for help, not hesitating to just ask for help is something I also do in that aspect. So, and also like trying to create a plan. So I try my best to create a plan. Like right now, I have like some particular tools that I want to learn. Some people might already know it, but to me, I don't know it yet. But I try my best not to look down on myself because I don't know it. I mean, we're all trying to get somewhere. We're all trying to win. So I try my best to just have a plan of, okay, maybe this month I just want to learn this particular tool. Next month I want to learn this particular tool, and then just get projects online that I can use to develop myself and just have that hands-on experience so that, whenever I need to use it, like, I just have it there. So yeah, hands-on experience and then reaching out and yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So before I let you go, I want you to also share with us, maybe like there's one particular project that you worked on, maybe like this project really went like very well or something happened, as a tester, you're able to use your superpower to mitigate something, like just share something with us.
Okay, so particular projects. So for me, I would say that it was a defining moment for me would be like learning automation. So I know a lot of people can say that they like automation, blah blah blah. But for me, when I heard about automation, honestly, at that point it was a little bit daunting to me. I was like what was this about? Like it just seemed like a lot. But then, however, when I got my hands on it, it was a tool that really helped me to be able to, understand how to deliver high quality solutions. So using automation and trying to get my projects going is the way that has actually helped me to be able to like get my project well. And in that aspect as well, I've tried my best to be able to I'll explain it now. I don't know how to explain it. It was just something that was hard initially, right? And when I got help from like my colleagues and all of that, so it became comprehensible for me to understand. And then a project that I feel like has also helped that I've been able to like do well. What I say, trying to think on the particular one because there are different projects right now. Maybe when I remember it, I'll let you know, Shao. But yeah.
All right, thank you, Wendy. And I think that you said something about, learning automation. And I think that a lot of people, even personally, for me, it wasn't really, maybe because I already like grew up in a circle of older brothers that had been like coding for a while. So it wasn't like something that hadn't crossed my mind or something that was beyond me. So it wasn't really so serious for me. But I know that every time that I sit down to learn how to use a new tool, and I got to that point that I know, I said, no, leave this thing. I've got this one. So when it gets to that point, I always try to celebrate myself. So like maybe like buy myself a cup of ice cream or something to say, okay, you've done well here. So I think it's also
Yeah.
something that we can, incorporate, as Wendy said, when you do something like that, something that you thought was going to be really hard, but you were able to like,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, thank you for sharing. So my next question will actually go to Omolara, and there's a reason I'm throwing this question at Omolara. So I'll give a very similar scenario. I was working on a project with a team, and I remember that I specifically requested, after testing, you can see certain things that is going on the product. And, I purposely like raising this conversation because this is going to like, a lot of people will learn from this, right? You can be testing an application and, everything works perfectly. But trust me, that product should not see the light of the day. I'll take it again. You can be working on a product and it looks like everything functions properly, but that product is not fit to see the light of the day. So I happen to be working on a particular project that was like that. We tested functional tests, it was going smoothly, everything was working as it should. But the moment you start growing in your career, you get to understand some deeper level things of how things work. And I understood some things in the database and the server that was powering a particular application. And I said, no, that product is not going live. And I said no because I felt like it was going to be a great disaster if it does. Because I did not think that it could undo the level to even start with. It couldn't undo the level of load that we have. And something about load testing, when it comes to mobile application, there isn't so many resources, robust, free, let me put that in cap, free, large, what's it called? Some large, what do I call it? Resource that can allow you like do a high number of, load testing on mobile application. If you have an application that can do it like excellently, please put it in the chat box. I'm interested, right? So it was really tasking for me, and I was just able to do the bit I could do, but even from the bit I could see the sign, so I said no. And it happened that the PM on the product was like, Abiola, this is the possible revenue to generate from this product. If you don't go live, we missed it. And if you've been in the fintech space for a while, you will understand that, if you snooze, you lose. So you have to also be on your toes. Right. So that was like the exact situation. I said, this is going to be the game changer. It became the game changer in the market anyway, but right. But this is going to be the game changer. Abiola, we need to go live. So I said, okay, if I'm going to compromise, let us, release this product in batches. Allow maybe, let's say, because they had like over 100,000 users. So why not do it this way? Allow maybe like 10,000 use the app, monitor it, move on to 20, 50, 70, 100, 200,000, then eventually all of your customers get access to it. It seemed like a very good idea. We had a conversation, including the CEO was on the call. I was pleading with them. They did not answer me. Eventually, I was like, okay, no problem. I'm not doing what I want to do. Pardon my English. And, we launched like, let's imagine we launched like 12 p.m. today. By 6 p.m., we've recorded over 210 million Naira fraud. And I was just screaming because I was just pained. And, it really hurts me because it's not just about, you could have seen it in different way. You could have seen it in a way, I told you so way, but I didn't see it in I told you so way because I also understand like, if I'm here, especially if I'm not like, especially when I'm not committing all my life to you, I'm just committing a specific time of my life to you. I feel like you should be able to feel my impacts. Like Abiola was in this company at this time. So I was really pained. I felt really bad. I shouldn't be here and something like this will happen. So it kind of really shaped a whole lot of, how I interact with, the teams and how I interact with, whenever we want to go live for a product. So I would like Omolara to share. She's in the fintech space also. financial sector. So has there been, maybe there have been anything similar, or is there something you can share when someone also faced similar issue that I faced? How can they like navigate something like that to ensure that, you know, eventually their company doesn't run at a serious loss because they wanted revenue, profit, but they eventually ended up in a loss? They were able to recover some money, but you can't compare. So yeah, Omalara, is there something you can say to that?
Yes, I think I can relate. So in my company, we use like certain words to describe this, which is strategic, right? There are some tasks that we work that we are very much aware, like everybody can see that, okay, this is not, you know, like we want it to be. It's not the quality or it's not the standard that we're looking to, but it's strategic, right? And we call it that because, just like you mentioned, right, you know, the rate to go to market, you know, some other things, some other business criteria. So over time, I used to beat myself up where, just like you said, this thing goes live, even if you want to say I told you so, right? Even if maybe within you want to screen that, your name is still on that, right? You are being tagged as a Kiwi on that product. And over time, even working with a team, I will have my team members, you know, call me up, complain, lament. We've already raised this. We told them that it's not good to go, but they are still insisting. I got to understand, that was when I started doing like a deep dive into the role, right? And then also speaking to international people, because I feel that there is a difference between a Kiwi in Africa and a Kiwi abroad, right? And it's also, there's a difference, but there is a similarity in terms that it depends on the value the company puts in your role. That also determines how far you can go or the kind of decisions you can make. So when I find myself in that situation or any of my team members, what I tell them is, okay, what have you done so far, right? Where is your documentation for this? Have you highlighted, you know, the pass and fail, the negative and the positive, right? So when we do this, we also have like a section for observations and risk, right? We try to speak to the risk people. Okay, these are the risks, right? Do we have appetite for it? I think that was also when I started learning, you know, some basics in understanding, you know, the risk aspect of the business. And there's something called risk appetite, right? If your company is aware of this risk or vulnerabilities, right? Are they willing to, you know, for lack of a better word, chest it, right? How much can they chest? So some companies are willing to do it, because one thing I've also learned, right, in being in this space is if you don't take some certain risk, right, you cannot make some certain impact. So we can all, as a keyword person, we are sort of like wired to be careful, to maintain, to be good, to be gentle. But sometimes you really need to go in hard, right? Like all the sales people or, you know, these business people, right? And those were the things I learned from them. So when the situation presents itself, I tell myself and my team members that, okay, what have you contributed to this project, right? And don't focus on when it goes live. That should not be your goal, on how customers are going to accept it. They might not, right? Or it might not even go live, or it might go live, or it will cause trouble, especially when you've identified this risk. So the goal is what have you put into it, right? How much work, how much have you documented? Have you highlighted this risk? Have you spoken to all the people, right, that should be aware that, okay, this may happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but these are the things that may happen. How do we mitigate these things? So by the time we analyze this, you know, there is that, we just have like bands. We also have like sessions with my team where, you know, you're allowed to call me around, or we have like calls where everybody's just ranting about something else. And when they do, everybody's like sort of relaxed. So when it happens, we know. So we also think about what can we do? How can we prepare? What are the things we can do from our own part? Also, we just learn from all these things, and it's always easier for us to make a reference. So in summary, for situations like this, we try to communicate as much as possible. We try to document, right? And we wait. Wait in the sense that, okay, we've accepted the fact that there are some business decisions that has been made, right? Just because we don't have the final decision on what needs to go live, right? Also, we already understand the risk. So it's like everybody is on guard, right? Everybody is you know, waiting. And there are some times that we're able to contribute to whenever it goes, you know, south. And other times that we can't, we just learn from it and we move on. And then, we just focus on whatever it is we've learned on building that product or that feature or that project, and then try as much as possible not to replicate it, because then it's easier to say, I told you, or, oh, this happened at this point. Do we want a repetition of this? Compared to, something hasn't gone like, so sometimes it's good to make these mistakes, right? It's good for you to see these things happen, so that when you are giving your feedback and say, oh, we had a situation like this for this product, right? And it's similar to this. Do we really want to go that route? You see that everybody like, oh yeah, that's true. Okay, how do we do this? Everybody now becomes a little bit calm, because as at that point, everybody running helter-skelter, everybody, was, yeah, okay, what should we do now? But then we've learned from it, so now it's easy. This might not happen all the time, right? Because there are still some certain people that, even though they see that they are walking into fire, they will still do it anyway, right? But I think that's also the beauty of business, where some risks are meant to be taken, right? It's a gamble. It's either you make it or you don't. You learn from it and you move on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So Unyime's hand is up, but before Unyime goes, I like something you said. You mentioned risk appetite. Can your company chest it? And I really like that. Yeah, I really like that. And I remember that there was actually a time that we were having conversation about QA, is our role really valued or not? And a friend was like, what, let's do it this way. Your company, you people should not test something and allow it to go live. When there's a serious bug, they will not love QA, like, oh, did we not test this thing? They will understand why you need to test, because if your product is always good, they will not value you. Like, just a joke though, don't do it though. But you get what I'm saying? Like, when certain things happen, people now get to understand why they need to put more value on certain things better. Unyime, please, you have the floor.
Okay, yeah, I think in line with what Lara has spoken about, especially Rick. So I think one thing I tell people to do is, when you are testing, know your risk areas, right? Because especially when you're on crunch time, that actually helps you to know where to concentrate your efforts in, while other things can go, right? And I think based on your scenario of telling people that this is going to go bad, and then they still want to go that route. So one of the things I got, I got peace with, is that there will always be bugs. And I do not try to control, because no matter how much you try to control it, there would always be bugs. But one thing I always look out for is that I look out for the team I am going into production with. Now, the team you are working with matters a lot, no matter how small or big the bug is, because if you have people that, once the issue is raised, they are literally on the go to fix it, your mindset, even you as a QA, your mind is actually at peace, because you know that when we find it, we'll fix it. And before the customer even hits it, we've already we've resolved it. All that matters a lot. The confidence in your team actually determines, I would say most of the time, determines how your risk appetite also, is gauged. Because if you don't have confidence in the people that you are working with, maybe someone that you have to call like 10 times in a day before they eventually respond to one issue, right? You obviously would not want to release any product that has a comma. But if you know that, okay, if we go live now, even knowing what we know right now, and as issues are coming up, people are on ground, clearing them and resolving them, you would be much more, much more be at ease. Even when you know that some things, you still have some, loopholes, you will be much more, open to having to release and knowing that, okay, we're going to fix it, because there's actually not going to be a bug-free product, but you can actually go in a way whereby, before your customers are complaining or seeing it, things are being resolved. And also for even customers as well, one thing I've noticed, because for us, we work with different people at the same time, one thing we've noticed is that so long as you are there and you're able to communicate and, explain what the situation is, and they can see you actively resolving it, the tension is lesser, or the aggressiveness or the anger, as it were, is lesser, because they can see you on top of things and you're moving, you're trying all the possible ways to to resolve things. So they actually would be the whole the blame game automatically disappears pretty much, because they just know, oh, these guys are going to fix it. So basically, I'm just waiting for you to just get to let them know when you're going to fix it. So for the QA side, I would say that in when you're working with people, especially when you're working with different people, and you need to know what is important to them and focus your area on what is important to them. If they want to go live, then you know that no matter what you say, they want to go live. And once they want to go live, you on the other hand need to know, okay, what are your weak points on this product and how are you trying to mitigate them, either working with them. So that is why I said you actually have to build that relationship across board, where you are not just working just to, say yes or no, or allow this to go or out. So once you realize that, okay, this is where we are, you now need to work with your team to see, okay, if we must go live, okay, what are our plans to, mitigate the issues as they arise in production? Because that is now going to be your next, that will be your next, like call it, your next step. Because no matter what you do, they're going to go live, right? And if they go live, this product is going to have issues. But if it has issues, what are we now doing collectively together to resolve those issues as they arise?
Thank you so much for contributing to that, Amy. I really like that. And you said something very important. Know your team. Not the people that the moment the product goes live and everything scatters, they'll come back and say, QA. Even though you clearly told them that it's not fit to go live, they'll not come and drag you by your neck. Know your team and be able to communicate with them and work with them towards resolving whatever issue happens eventually. So yeah, thank you very much, Lara, for doing justice to that question. So I would ask, just after 2 questions left, and we are good to bounce. But my next question is going to go to Sheon. So Sheon is a mom and also a QA person and a QA manager. So she's a mom, she's a tester, she's a QA manager. So I know that can come with a level of responsibility. And I remember that I had the opportunity to speak at an International Women's Day one time, and I was very passionate about something I was speaking about, and which is around, women, and they were talking about, gender roles and all of those things. And I really mentioned that, in as much as we crave for equity, I do not think there's necessarily, equality per se between, us women and the male gender. And why I said so is this, there are times you are not always at the top of your, I don't want to say top of your game, you are not always, physically even available all around the clock. Why I'm even mentioning Sheon is because, for being a mom, there are times that maybe she was on a circle, or there are times she had to leave for, maternity leave. And, there are times, after having a baby, she's not still feeling herself. And, she still has to show up and turn up, and, a lot of all of this challenge. And that is why I also believe that, yeah, being a woman isn't a crisis, it's not a terminal disease. It's not a challenge at all. It's just like being human, right? There's no challenge there. But I just feel like we also need to be giving grace at the end of the day. Yeah. So I'm just going to ask this question to Sheon, being a woman, being a QA engineer, being a manager, and being a mom, have you been able to balance all of these? And even on days when, based on your physical makeup, you're not able to do certain things at certain days, have you been able to balance life respective?
Okay, so thank you for the question. The first thing I would say is, as a woman, you need a support system. You need a lot. Outside the job, you need a support. I think I should repeat that 100 times. You need support system. And sometimes I've met some women that say that, Sean, why are you, instead of you to go to market and get this thing yourself, why are you asking them to deliver it to your footstep, instead of so many things that I would rather use the money to do, so that I will have enough time to myself. So some people will question me for it. It's because I know that as a woman, I have a lot on my table. Apart from being a career person, professional person, I'm also a woman is also a manager of the house. See, if you don't put some things in place in your house, nobody will put it in place. Your husband will not put it in place. Your children will not put it in place. Even though you need them to put it in place, you still be the one to plan for it, that I want this to be done like this. I want this to be done like this. So I need a lot of time to be able to do something that I cannot delegate. There's some things as a woman that you can't just delegate. So for things that you can delegate, even though it will cost money, try to delegate it. Don't look at the money. If you have the time, it's better off. So it will save you time so that you have time for your like the space that we have. You cannot do without learning. You can't do without being at the top of the game. So that you have enough time with you. And if you can have, like I said, support system, if you can have a support system from your family, although I'm opportune to have a very good support system from my home family, that because I've tried a lot of help and everything is not working for me. So I'm just opportunity to have a family that can do that for me, Another thing apart from the support system that you need from people and everything like that, you need some tools in your life as a woman that can ease life for you. You need some tools like in your house. Just get some things that will make your actuals faster. Get washing machine, get freezer. I remember when I wanted to marry, before I even like get like, okay, I want to set up, okay, as a plan with my fiance that, okay, we want to set up our sitting room. The first thing I said, we are going to get the washing machine, we are going to get the freezer because of the nature of my job. That was the first thing that we got because I know the nature of the job. Yeah. So you need some tools that can make like anything. If you are opportunity to see someone and say, oh, I'm using this in my house and it's making this type of thing to be easy for me, try to get it. Try to like, don't look at the money, try to get it. And at work too, being a manager, even though no matter how you are good, you are much experienced than your team member or anything, try to delegate tasks. Don't be like the manager that's always doing things and his team member is left behind. You are try to delegate things to your team member so that you as a manager, you can get relief and you can do some managerial leadership role more than doing the technical role. Although even though you are not fully involved in it, you still need to be carried along. You still need to have the knowledge so that when your team member encountered an issue, you can be there for them. You can be there for them. So I can just say the summary is just support system, some tools that can ease your life, and delegation. That's just the summary.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shion. There's one major thing I took out from there, which is don't try to be in double ski. Delegate a lot of responsibility as much as you can. And, particularly that resonates with me because I remember that when I just moved into the leadership role, my first leadership role, I knew that one of the major challenge I had was delegating. I can be one of those people you can term a perfectionist when it comes to work. I like things done in a certain way. I love my test script written in a certain way. I love reports being generated in a certain, I just like things in a very like precise way. So when you're asking certain people to do something and it's taking them forever to learn it, I'm just like, you know what, I can do this thing within 5 minutes. You're taking 2 days to run. So, and I remember that my mentor had to tell me that if you delegate a task and it takes them 5 days to do it, we will wait for that 5 days. You would not delegate, something because you can do it within 5 minutes. Doesn't necessarily mean that you should take up that responsibility. That's also an opportunity for them to grow. And it was very hard at the time, but I was able to grow and I liked it eventually because it also allowed me see things and that I was not working in the team, and also now build my team better. And also like, oh, you are lacking in this part, you need to pick up this skill, let me help you with this. But if I was doing everything myself, I won't have the opportunity to like help other people. And even my teammates will leave me because they're like, this Oga just want to carry all of the accolades to herself and all. So yeah, please try as much as possible to delegate and make life easy for yourself. And I think that communicating also really matters. Communicate with your line manager when you're not feeling it. Like for every company I'd worked with and every team I've led, I always make sure that, anytime any member of my team is on their monthly cycle, for instance, they have like, if you want to take the whole day off, it's fine. If it's half a day, it's fine. Like, it's fine. And there's also for maternity leave, even after giving maternity leave, I also noticed some women don't even feel that great even after. So just give them the grace. It might even take them a while to pick up at the pace that they used to work on, like when they first started. So give them the grace and allow them, pick up, their mojo back eventually. So like always just give grace to these women and allow them, grow, and also be in a team that, respect your humanity, so to say, and want you to grow and give you the opportunity to always bounce back even after anything happens to you. So thank you very much for sharing that, Shion. So I will just move on finally to Wendy. And Wendy, I just want you to like share with us. I mean, there are some people on this call that have like just 0 to 6 months experience in testing, or they are just like less than 1 year experience in testing. I hope Wendy is still on this call, because I know that the network has been.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, so I mean, what advice would you give someone just coming up the ladder, trying to find their way in software testing? What advice would you give them?
All right. So my advice is going to be, first one is going to be staying resilient, just like understanding that facing challenges and setbacks are just natural part of professional growth. Because there are some times that, I felt like some things that I know now were difficult then for me. And then when I eventually learned it, it was just like, oh, so this is it. Like, I thought there was more to it. I literally sometimes just ask my colleague then that, oh, is this everything? And they're like, yeah, this is it. And I'm like, so why was I always like overthinking about how hard it was? So I just feel like staying resilient and just understanding that those challenges that you're facing at that point would eventually like change later on in the future when you eventually learn it. So don't allow setbacks discourage you from just pursuing your goals, and then just maintain a positive attitude, and focus on finding solutions rather than just dwelling on the obstacles. So like sometimes maybe when I say like in knowledge gaps, because sometimes I've noticed from my own experience some of the issues that they can bring to you, and they'll be like, oh, there's a bug here, blah blah blah. But sometimes it's just like a knowledge gap from the user. So perhaps maybe like the user doesn't fully understand what the product is about. So I feel like, rather than dwelling on, oh, it's not a bug, blah blah blah, just try and tell them, explain to them that this is actually how it works. Because for me, I feel like I'm even almost like a product owner, because I feel like I like thoroughly try to understand what the product is about. I'm not just going into testing because I want to just test and make sure it's working. I really look into the user experience, I look into how it's working, and I really liaise with the product owners and give them feedbacks and recommendations. So I also say that as a QA tester, you should also like try to give recommendations, what you feel like is best practice. Maybe like there's a particular way that the product owner has mentioned that, okay, they want it to be like this. But to you, you feel like as a user, if I am a user and you give me this product to use, I'll just feel like, what's this? Like, why is it like this? So I feel like don't, be too quiet when you feel like there's a particular way, a particular thing should work. And then, yeah, that means like articulating your thoughts clearly and, be assertive. And yeah, just provide evidence, for your points, and just try to show the product owner what you feel like it should be. And yeah, those are the things that I feel like I would, yeah, share to people. Just don't, feel down. Try not to feel that imposter syndrome, because I felt it before. And especially when I don't know a particular product, and I just feel like, I mean, I don't know a particular tool rather. And I just feel like, okay, I don't know this tool. So I'm feeling like I don't know it. And it just takes you for you to just learn it. And it might take a while for you to eventually learn it. But then I feel like, it's better for you to have progress than perfection. So as long as you're just learning it and day by day you're getting to know it, yeah, it's just better. So that would be my advice to anybody trying to get into QA testing.
Thank you so much, Wendy. I think there's really nothing for me to add. You've just like really hit the nail on the head on every part. And one of the major things that I really love that you mentioned is that, something that looks like a serious challenge to you now, by the time you cross over, you find out that, oh, it's not that deep. So it's just like at every level of your career, something looks like a mountain, but as you grow in the career, you find out that it was just nothing. So yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, always understand. Yeah, there's something I also took out, understanding the product very well. Because I mean, what are you testing if you don't even really understand it? So thank you very much for sharing that
Thank
also.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you. That was really profound. Thank you. So I'm going to ask Unyime, and so we have an anonymous question. I would have posted it here, but because it was just one, I just felt, okay, you know what, let's just leave it. So we asked people to send, anonymous questions to our speakers for today. So I'm just going to throw it to Omalara and Unyime to like dismantle the question. And please, if you laugh, bombastic side eye. All right, so this person, we've actually discussed this question before, and I thought to bring it back here. So this person says that they have a crush on me that is laughing. They have a crush on their manager and it's affecting their productivity. So how should they handle such situation? I don't like I don't like you people. Why are you laughing? Okay, so email Omalara, please help. This is a live situation. Someone has a crush on a manager and it's affecting her work. How does she navigate that?
I okay, that's tricky. Okay, we said we shouldn't laugh, but I think for things like that, this is an emotional problem and it's tricky and difficult at the same time because you can advise people, but your emotions, you are the one that can take over your emotions, right? You are the ones that can mold your emotions. So in a situation like that, you need to, if it's possible for you to change your team, right? Your role so that you no longer report to that person, fine. That's if it's possible. But if it's not possible and you have to work with the person, I think within you need to decide, okay, do I want to, get in trouble? Because I don't know who this manager is. I don't know if this manager, is married or has a partner, maybe the age cap. You don't know if anything can be possible, right? On the other hand, if it's something that you're willing to risk and, risk your job, maybe you should give it a go. But because they are still, I feel like that question it doesn't have as much details as we can use to advise you, which is why I'm touching on different parts, right? What's your goal? What's your focus? Do you want to work or do you want to, focus on your manager? So decide within yourself and make a very good decision, right? The one that benefits you. And remember that Nigeria is not expensive if you're a Nigerian. Thank you.
Someone just sent me a message. Can't she just marry the manager and one of them will resign?
Well, that's why I said we don't have enough information. So we don't even know if the manager is already married, right? We don't know.
You have a point.
Manager. So we don't know the
very
risk
solid
involved. Requirements are not complete.
I agree. Unyime, do you want to give this a shot?
Well, well, they said that the requirement is actually not complete, right? So, but the requirement is not complete. But in scenarios like that, first thing first, I think you need to understand the environment that you're in, right? What are the rules? What are the regulations there? Because you could be in companies that do not actually allow, the staffs to date themselves or marry themselves. So that's your first, like knowing knowing that first of all, right? If that is not snapping you back to reality, then you need to, like Lara said, you need to consider whether you want to lose your source of income for emotional damage that will still give you breakfast, yes or no. So you need to be sure what you want to risk for it, right? If it's even what the risk to start with. And then, and if it's affecting your work, right? There might be a reason why this person is actually even attracted to this person. So you need to be able to know what is even making you attracted to the person. If the person, people are naturally attracted to smart people, for instance, okay, and then it's even, to me, I feel that it's also a way for you to also upskill yourself, because you know that, okay, to get his attention, you need to be smart. So it could also be a ginger for you to get better, right? And at the end of the day, you may also realize that there's really nothing there. But it's just all in the context of where are you and what are your current, as in what is obtainable there, what is not obtainable, and that will just like make you decision for you. But when it comes to emotions, please face reality. Money is important.
I actually really like the way Omalara and Onyime answered this question. I love it. Thank you very much, guys, for that. So I think I'll just like talk briefly on TBD, and I think we are done for the day actually. So I mean, TBD community is the one hosting this Women in Software Testing thingy. I don't know what to call it. Well, so our community was established to create a supportive learning environment, eliminating isolation often felt in the test world by providing a collaborative space for shared knowledge and growth. So we are a collective people, testers, and we try to grow together, we try to learn together, we try to share ideas and have conversations like this. So yeah, so if you're not part of our community and you would like to join, just scan this barcode, and you will get to we get to bring you in. And you can also follow our social media, the Bug Detective Women in Test. Twitter is the Bug Detective, but the detective is defective, so there's a E missing intentionally. Then for Twitter, we have Testing Women. The LinkedIn, the Bug Detective, and Women in Software Testing. Then community, our email is actually community. I don't know what it is there. There's a bug there. community@thebugdetective.co. So I think that should be the end. Oh, I think it is. So that's the end of today's conversation. I really want to take our time to thank our speakers. I actually had such a wonderful time, and I enjoyed speaking with every one of you. And it didn't even feel like we were in a very formal conversation. It felt like we were just on a call gisting, and I really liked that about every one of the speakers, because they brought their personality to things and made it very lively. So thank you very much. And I hope, all of our audience, you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. So let's give a round of applause to our panelists for coming and giving us part of their Owambe Saturday time today. Thank you very much, Unyime. Thank you, Malara. Thank you, Wendy. And thank you very much, Sheon. And hopefully we get to invite you some other time very soon, actually. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thank
bye.
you. Thank you, everyone. Bye. I'm also giving it back my applaud here. Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.